thank you guys for your work. It's a simple question. Yeah, hello, my name is John, and I have a simple question. It seems that all critical thinkers, if you listen to, just listen to what's going on in the world, recognize this, the finite nature of our resources. There's a, there's a percentage of people that constantly preach this same thing. And it could be argued that change will not be effected, considering this is a real problem facing our society, our civilization, that it could be argued that until there's a critical mass of people that want to effect change, that the change won't be effected. I think a good example of that is what the recent events in Tunisia that, But the question is, very simply, for this to be successful, for this huge problem facing our humanity, you guys, since you guys seem to be on the cutting edge, what are the nodes of, how do people coalesce? I mean, you guys are obviously not the only people in the world that recognize this as a serious problem that humanity will, a crossroads that we're coming to. So how do we link up to form this
well, that's precisely what the Zeitgeist movement is, which we're in 60 countries right now with I believe upwards between 500 and 600 chapters, and the entire intent of this organization, which is global, which is coordination based. It's not a leadership based organization. It's holographic in the sense that even if one group was to do something, it doesn't necessarily affect another group. It's based on the idea that everyone is functioning at the same basic premise of understanding, which is pursuit towards a resource-based economy. And that's exactly what we're doing. And in a way, I read a recent article that hadn't even seen the film yet, but the very opening sentence, it was a semi-mainstream article, "New propaganda film from the Zeitgeist movement." And that's, in a way, that's half true, but this is about stuff. It's not just propaganda and promotion of something. Any real form of art promotes something. Any real form of art is a promotion in the sense of propaganda. And if it doesn't promote something, then it's meaningless, as far as I'm concerned. Art for the sake of art, I'm not interested in. So the Zeitgeist movement is exactly what you're talking about, and that's exactly why I created it, to pursue interest into moving into a resource-based economy based on his life work, ultimately, because he has set up the designs, the cities, he's worked his entire life, generating the technical aspects and blueprints to literally construct the first city and to create the navigation system and everything that we would need, and to have other people understand it as well. So that's exactly what we're doing. And at the end of the film, this last point, I depict the critical mass in a very gestural way, as you might have seen. This is exactly, this is exactly the concept, but not the way I see it unfolding. I'm not telling anybody to go out and take their money and throw it on the steps of their central banks, as beautiful as that might be. That's not what I'm advocating at all. What I'm saying is that if people did come together, no one could stop a critical mass. If 50% of the US population didn't pay income taxes, do you think they're going to prosecute you? No, they couldn't do anything. They run away. They fold the entire income tax. Since the divinity of kings, thousands of years ago, the way you control people is by dividing them up. It's divide and conquer. That's how they've always done it. I say they, not in some conspiracy sense, but every power elite functions in the same basic way. That's just the way power is as we've evolved, and hopefully we'll evolve out of it, but they divide the people up, and that's what you do. And that's how you control people, and it's when people finally come together, realize an empirical understanding that we have to preserve resources, understand the train of thought of a direction like this, that as far as I'm concerned is completely empirical. I can't think of any other variation of this. It's not a matter of opinion. The planet is there, the laws of nature are there. If you want to continue species survival, you have to respect these points for efficiencies and maximum sustainability and ultimate optimization at every scale, and that doesn't exist. It's the exact opposite of the monetary system. So one way or another, we're going to move out of this system. And the only question is how much death and destruction is going to occur before we do.
I'd like to answer your question about energy. If we use the geothermal energy of the Earth, volcanic heat, according to geologists and volcanologists, they tell us that there's thousands of years of energy in just the heat of the Earth. forgetting about solar, wind, tidal, thermal differences. Just volcanic energy is enough for thousands of years, that alone. So don't worry about energy shortage.
Well, he wasn't asking about energy. Jacque has his hearing aids. He doesn't hear very well at a distance. So the other person was asking about energy, but you're fine. What he was talking about basically getting people to come together to push towards a resource-based economy.
They will not come together until they lose their houses, their jobs,
It's probably true.
and lose confidence in the people they elected. Then they're ready for change. You cannot affect people. They don't give a damn about one another. People right now are out to make a buck, gain property, power. Why should a person run for political office? They have nothing to offer. They do it, they want to get their name in the history book. But sane people talk to people, and they do not say things people like to hear. Let me put it this way. When people once believed the earth was flat, politicians would say, all right, folks, it's a little round, a little flat, and you get along with more people. It's the business of science to tell people they're wrong, and what they believe has no basis of fact. Scientists do not speak to win approval. Real scientists. In a sane democratic society, if you had a president, which I don't think you would, he'd get up and he'd criticize another country. Then we would invite the prime minister of that country to get up on the and give his point of view. Then we'd invite the prime minister of Sweden. He says, they're both full of shit. This is how I see it. That's a democracy. When you have religion only on Sunday, it's managed news. You would have all different types of religions, non-religions, atheism, agnosticism, so the public can hear all points of view, and they can turn it on or off. But when you only hear religion on the air on Sundays, it means it's managed.
And I think
Do you understand that? Why should a person tell the truth? To tell the truth, I meet people all the time that come up to me and say, I'm a nature lover. Oh, you are? You really are? They say, yes. You mean you like tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, all that's natural? Oh, no. Then no one can be a nature lover. There are certain things about nature we like, other things we don't like. So people don't know how to talk. They don't know what they're saying. When a guy says to a girl, I love you, does it mean he wants to get laid? He wants to get married? What does it mean, really? What does love mean? Is there such a thing as love? I don't think so.
It's a thin line.
Because I don't know anybody that loves everything they've ever done in life. There are things you've done that were stupid, backward, you know, great. So sometimes you love yourself, sometimes a little less, sometimes not at all. So if you fall in love with somebody, sometimes you fall out of love. So how do I get into this mess? And sometimes you say, it's great. Love is a fluctuating thing. It's never constant. That's why a girl comes up to me sometimes weeping. So I don't know if I really love my husband. I said, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Do you love yourself all the time? Of course not. If you live with a replica of yourself, how long will you be together?
I just want to say thank you, and also I was wondering what your thoughts were on climate change and how, say, if like the weather became more sporadic, how would you deal with that? Like that immense flexibility that you're going to need with all of your technical structures and all your systems. I think, like if you know the weather becomes more sporadic, we have more tornadoes or hurricanes or. Like how are we going to adapt to that? Do you think we're going to be able to adapt to that fast enough, or?
Well, I can introduce this and maybe Jacque can comment on it. The only threats that are real are threats to the whole of humanity. I think that's the first thing to point out. And when it comes to natural disasters or any of the things that we've generated, such as climate destabilization, obviously the resolution comes from a purely scientific protocol. I mean, you know, I could go many different angles in this. What do they do with what they call global warming, which is really a combination of things? What do? They made this cap and trade thing where now corporations can trade permits to pollute for profit.
Whoa.
Is that, I mean, who came, I mean, we sit by and we let this happen? I mean, it's the most, they literally took the free market idea